to the 1940s, the Douglas Aircraft Corporation built the C-54 that was so important in the Berlin airlift after World War II in 1948. But then came the first of the Globemaster aircraft. Lieutenant Colonel MacDonald, first name again is? Jonathan MacDonald. You just came running up here. You've got an interactive experience for everybody here at our STEM event, right?
Yep, so everybody just got to see boom operators, which is fantastic. They're good at what they do.
Listen to this sound.
Yep. In the very back, if you want to do a virtual reality experience where you do a boom operator, full headset, full gear, everything, it's in the back. It's called the hangar.
And so some enterprising British engineers said, wait a minute, why don't we take one of our Rolls-Royce engines and tie it to the front of this airframe? Well, they did it, and the Mustang, as we know it, was born. Overhead right now, here comes Doug Rosendahl. Well, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the 11,000 plus members of the Commemorative Air Force, we're pleased to bring you the CAF's Tuskegee Airman P-51C here to Tinker Air Force Base. Today being piloted by Doug Rosendahl. The P-51C Mustang is representing the Tuskegee Airmen. And the reason it has a red tail is an interesting story. The red-tailed Mustangs were flown by the Tuskegee Airmen. They were part of a program set up by the U.S. Army Air Corps in 1941 that was to prove that black men could not fly fighter aircraft. And eventually they were able to prove everybody wrong. Black men could fly, and they did at Tuskegee Airfield in Alabama, and they flew early Mustangs like this very rare P-51C Mustang. Listen to the sound of this Rolls-Royce designed Packard-built Merlin engine. That the U.S. Army Air Corps began to train black men that could fly could have been the end of the story, but it became much more than that. It's a story about achieving dreams by working hard and focusing on goals. The airmen set out to prove that they could fly and fight, and because of their pursuit of perfection, they earned a reputation as skilled aviators and fierce fighters as they escorted the heavy bombers over Europe. Initially, these aircraft were known as the Little Friends. They were escorting bomber aircraft from some 70 bases in Great Britain over to German-held territory to bomb Nazi war-making targets. When the Mustang became outfitted with a Rolls-Royce Merlin engine, its performance equaled anything that was in the sky at the time, exceeding 400 miles per hour. It had a radiator like our cars, a V12 engine. But the Rolls-Royce original engines were actually built one at a time, and they couldn't build them fast enough to meet up with the demand for the production line of the Mustang aircraft by North American. So it was American ingenuity and mass production techniques that made enough motors to keep these airplanes flying throughout the war. The Packard Motor Car Company of Detroit, Michigan, manufactured over 56,000 Merlin engines, and to this day, some of those new old stock parts will actually fit in the motors of these aircraft as they have to be replaced. And just as a point of interest, when Packard built these aircraft engines, these Merlin engines, as Doug does the 8-point hesitation roll, very precisely stopping the airplane each at every 45 degrees around the clock, the companies that were involved in helping Packard to build those motors is very interesting. As a matter of fact, on some of the valve cover casings on this aircraft and some of these Mustangs, there is a name that you will recognize, and that's Maytag, the same company that makes our home appliances today. They were making parts for the engines that flew along, that helped our guys keep these airplanes flying. Let's listen one more time as it comes by. This is a very rare sound indeed, the P-51C Mustang from the Commemorative Air Force. You might have noticed a little scoop at the bottom, about halfway back on the fuselage. That was the air.
0.
From the left. Be sure to see the authentic and famous Redtail P-51 as it goes by and gets ready to land. You'll get a chance to get up close and personal with it. Plane got put on the put on the F-16 Fighting Falcon some 30 years later. Same piece of technology. Now I want to see if I can go live to the cockpit. Say hello to Doug Rosendahl.